Hello out there in video land. Let's get our radio guys going here. Okay, everything's looking good. We're ready to rock and roll. My name is Paul K. Lemire. This is Habsolutely. See up there? Habsolutely? Yeah, that's what this is. And we are back for another week here. And what a crazy week this has been. We've had a crazy week with the Habs here. And we got another big night coming up tonight. And boy, oh boy. So excited about the last game, and we'll talk about that during the show here for sure. And of course, when we took the Canes and gave them a beating, that was fantastic. So I mean, that got us into the playoffs. We wanted to get into the playoffs, so there you go. We're there. Now we just have to take care of these pesky Washington Capitals and call it a day. And I'm sure every Habs fan out there is thinking the same way as I am. We can beat these guys. So we'll talk about that game. But a terrific effort against the Canes. On that last Wednesday night, 1 week ago today, when it was do or die, all the cards on the table. Let's win this thing, and we sure did. We sure did win it, and that was fantastic. I was so happy after that game, of course. Now, okay, I'll give it to you. The Canes had a depleted lineup. Yeah, they didn't have their full lineup in there, but who cares? The Habs' backs were against the wall. There was no second chances. This was it. We had to win it because we can't depend on Columbus. And thank God we didn't, because Columbus had a big night beating the Islanders 6-2 or something like that. They gave them a bad beating. So if we didn't win this one, it would have been over for us. It would have been over for us. So we would have been sitting by the TV watching, chewing our fingernails off, and then we would have been going, it was the season that could have been instead of the season that is. So fantastic. Big clap out to all the fans, the Habs, and everybody who thought they could do it. And I said last week, I have a feeling they're going to come out with a big game. They're going to do it. Their inconsistency over the year is their consistency, is the way they want it. And that's what happened. So let's get to Habs trivia in a minute here. But first, you notice that John's not here again. John has got to take care of some business. He can't be here. And I know he wants to be. That's for sure. He misses doing this. I know he does, because we have so much fun at it. But family comes first. Everything comes first. You can't worry about a show when there's other things going on in your life. So that's fine. I'm here, John. Don't worry about it. I'm taking care of business over here. We miss you, and especially your analytical powers, because me, I'm not so much an analytical guy. I'm more of a commentator, an opinion guy. I'll tell you my opinions. John's more analytical. He sees things different than I do. And that adds another dimension to the show. Me, I know what I want to say, and I say it. Right or wrong, I say it. but John's more measured. He's more measured. He's more of a thinker about it. So let's get the Habs trivia. This is for you, Vinny, who don't, because you always seem to get the right answer. You somehow know it, although this is a tough one, Vinny. I told you, we're going to mix them up these now. We're going to do tough and easy. Tough and easy. The one was really tough. Last week wasn't so tough. Vinny got it off the bat. We had other people commenting as well. But this one's going to be a little bit tougher. You got to have a good memory, and you got to know your Habs. So we're playing the Washington Capitals, and it's not like it hasn't happened before. And it's not like we were in 8th and they were in 1st. It's happened before. And what year that happened was 2010. When the Habs had 88 points, the Caps had 108. The Caps won the President's Trophy, and we just barely made it into the playoffs in 8th. So we had to take on these big, bad, Ovechkin-led Habs with 2 goalies, Carey Price and Yaroslav Halak. And I don't think anybody thought the Habs had a shot in this series. And after going back and forth, we ended up in game 7. And of course, that was the game that we wanted to win. We were away, of course. We were in Washington. They were the President's Trophy winner. So we had to play the top notch Capitals in game 7. And my question to you out there is, in that game 7 where Habs won the game, I think they won it 4-1. Who scored the winning goal? Game 7, 2010, Habs versus Capitals. We have to win game 7. We're in Caps land. We beat them 4-1. Who scored the winning goal? That would be the second goal because Caps only got one. Yaroslav Halak, who I thought they should have kept overpriced, was the winning goaltender. I'm going to give you some choices. Sergei Kostitsyn, Dominic Moore, Max Pacioretty, or Mike Camilleri. Who scored the winning goal in that game 7 to move Montreal ahead in the playoffs and give Washington their walking ticket? Sergei Kostitsyn, Dominic Moore, Max Pacioretty, or Mike Camilleri. Who scored that goal? They all played for the team, and they're all pretty prolific scorers. They're very good hockey players. Yeah, but guess what? Only one guy got that winning goal. Vinny, I'm going to give you a few seconds here. Tick tock, tick tock. What do you think? The correct answer is Dominic Moore. And that probably surprised a lot of people because Dominic Moore did not play with the Habs that long. He was brought in at towards the end of the season, I think in February of that year, to help us get into the playoffs and make the playoffs. And he was the guy who scored the winning goal again in that game 7 to move us ahead. He came over from Florida as the Habs shored up the lineup to prepare for the playoffs and only played a total of 21 games for the Habs that year. Starting his career being drafted by the New York Rangers, Moore came up through the OJHL, the Ontario Junior Hockey League, playing for the Thornhill Rattlers and Aurora Tigers. Now, we have one of those. We have that team in that league in Niagara Falls. Finally, took a while to get it, but we got it. And the importance of that league can't be overstated because once you hit the OHA, or the OHL, maybe it's called now. I think it was the Ontario Hockey Association before, and OHL now, Ontario Hockey League. And that's your London Knights, Kitchener Rangers, and all those junior teams. The ones in Quebec, the Quebec team, they won the Memorial Cup last year, and that's for that. Quebec Junior Hockey League is involved in the Eastern Hockey, Western Hockey League is involved. But anyway, if you go into that league, that's a pro league, and you can't go into NCAA. Dominic Moore wanted to go into NCAA, so he played for the Ontario Junior Hockey League, Thornhill Rattlers, and Aurora Tigers, then skipped the OHA. Of course, he could have went to the OHA, but instead of doing that, he wouldn't have been able to go to NCAA. So he went to NCAA, making his way to Harvard Crimson, playing alongside his brother, Stephen Mark Moore. He was chosen number 95 in the 2000 NHL entry draft by the Rangers, but never hit the Rangers lineup until the 2003-2004 season. Now, that year was split between the Rangers and their AHL affiliate, the Hartford Wolfpack. He made his NHL debut, against who else? The Montreal Canadiens, assisting on 3 goals in that game. The Rangers beat us 5-1. And he became only the second player to get 3 assists in his first NHL game. Now, that's a good trivia question. Who was the first one? It was George Allen in 1938. So we're going back a long way before it was done. It would happen again. And George Allen played for the Philadelphia Ramblers. That's another good question. Were the Philadelphia Ramblers really an NHL team? Well, they were. And he got traded from them to the Chicago Blackhawks after that. So George Allen was the guy's name. 1938, 3 assists in his first game in the NHL. And that's the record Dominic Moore tied with the Rangers in his first game against the Canadiens, with the Canadiens losing that one to the Rangers 5-1. And it's really kind of weird that this came up. I just don't know how I figured it out or why I wanted to do this trivia question. But when I looked at it and I saw that the Canadians are in the same situation as they are now in 2010, I go, oh, yeah, well, okay. This is a no-brainer, this trivia question. So, like I say, the Habs ended up 20 points behind the Caps with one. They had 108 points. The Caps, we had 88, and of course, we were the big underdogs in that series. So, took them to Game 7, beat them 4-1. Dominic Moore got the winning goal, the second goal. Halak saved the series against the powerful Caps with tremendous goaltending. I think Halak had to face 53 shots in one game and 45 the next. And that's what led me to say, get rid of Price and let's keep Halak. But, the Canadians picked Price high. I was the number 5th pick or something, 5th pick overall in that draft or whatever. And they weren't going to get rid of him. But, man, oh, man, Halak played a hell of a series. And he was in the NHL for a long time. He might still be in the NHL. Maybe last year it was. I can't remember. I got my Habs shirt here. Absolutely jersey. Okay, so he floated around the league more, and he played with the Penguins, the Wild, the Leafs, the Sabres, the Panthers, the Canadiens, the Lightnings, the Sharks, the Bruins. In his final season, he went back to the Maple Leafs. And then after that, he went to the ZSC Lions in the Swiss National League for a season. And that was it. He ended his career with numerous hockey awards in the NCAA. But the only award he got in the NHL was the Bill Masterson Trophy one year, awarded to the player that best exemplifies the qualities of perseverance, sportsmanship, and dedication to ice hockey. Moore ended his NHL career with the Loafs in 2017-2018, amassing 106 goals and 176 assists for a total of 282 points in the NHL. I think he had 500 and some odd games. Not a lot of games. So that was it. Dominic Moore, that was the answer, Vinny. And I'm going to tell you a little added note to this because there's something else that happened in his life, and that was his brother Steve Moore. I don't know if you remember this, but I remember it like it was yesterday. His brother Steve Moore, a great player who played for the Colorado Avalanche, and whose career was cut short when he was attacked by Todd Bertuzzi. I don't know if you remember this in a game against the Canucks in 2004. I don't know if you remember that, but there was some bad blood running between these two teams after a guy named Marcus Naslund got hit to the head by Moore that resulted in a concussion, causing Naslund to miss 3 games. There was no call on the play, no review of the hit or anything, and basically he was out, and there was no suspension for the hit. Now, the Canucks wanted to even the score on this one. And Todd Bertuzzi, a good, tough player in his own right, a real power center, power forward, grabbed Moore by the sweater, pulling him back, and then donkey punched him in the back of the head. Now, that donkey punch knocked him unconscious, and he fell forward on the ice, smashing his face on the ice and making matters even worse. So, of course, he was ejected with a major penalty and everything. But that smash in the back of the head by Bertuzzi, knocking him unconscious, ended Stephen Moore's career. Now, he was suspended for the rest of the season for Tuesday, but he was allowed to play the next season, and everybody was up in arms about it. There was a lot of lawsuits launched by Moore and against Bertuzzi, and Bertuzzi launched lawsuits against Mark Crawford and the Canucks because he said that was what he was supposed to do, and I don't know. It was a big schmozzle anyway. It was ugly and it was sad, and the NHL at that point was really up against it. And Bertuzzi, of course, his career was affected by it just because of the thing he got traded from the Canucks, and I don't know. His career never seemed to be the same. He was a tough player, and that's how he played hockey. And after this suspension and arrest and everything else that happened from it, putting a guy out, he never had that edge that he played with again. He did play in the NHL. He played for a whack of teams. He managed to grab 1,154 games in the NHL, Bertuzzi, but he was just never the same player after it. He just didn't have that edge because he was afraid of, you know, anything he did was going to get him suspended and that kind of thing. So he was pretty quiet the rest of his career. A really good player, though, and it's too bad that he made that bad decision at the time, and too bad for Steve Moore, that his talent was never seen in the NHL again. I think he only managed to play 69 games in the NHL, and that's not many. So basically, that's the other side of that story. But Dominic Moore's the answer to the question. Congratulations if you got it, Vinny. I don't know if you did or not. I didn't think it was that tough of a question, but obviously, if you don't know, I would have never got it. I would have had no idea. I would have taken a guess at one of the big guys. Maybe Pat Chiaretti was on the Habs. He scored a lot of goals and that kind of thing. But I would have never thought Dominic Moore, but I remember him and I liked him on the Habs. Okay, let's move on to some video comments. Vinny Hudon, my trivia answer is Larry Robinson. And if you remember last week, we talked about the guy who played the most career games for the Montreal Canadiens, and of course, 17 seasons. Larry Robinson played the most. And the other fact about Larry Robinson was that his whole career, 20 years in the NHL, he made the playoffs every year he was in the NHL, which is amazing. That's how good Larry Robinson was, and he was good. He was with the Habs for that 4 years in a row. He was with the Habs, and what a player! What a player! Everybody loves the Big Bird, Larry Robinson. So his logic is that they played more rounds of playoffs at the time, and he also played. And I'm sure I never read he missed the playoffs. So that was why Vinny chose it, and he did the analytical on it, and he was right. And I'm sure John would have got the same answer because when you look at the names, although there's some tremendous names that were on there, but Vinny got it right using logic. Congratulations, Vinny. Another one from Vince Hudon. Oh my God, we did it, guys. The Habs are in the show. So that was posted after the game on last Wednesday. Year 3 of the rebuild, and we already got into the playoffs. And yeah, that's an accomplishment for sure. 3 years in the playoffs, and they're already or 3 years rebuild, and they're already in the league. So somebody challenged that, said it was year 4. They started January 22nd, so they were in year 4 actually technically, because January 22nd was 3 full years. So okay, Vinny, I agree with you. It's 3 years in. I think it was 5 years in. I mean, I think the day they picked up Suzuki, um, and he was playing full time in Caulfield together. We're playing in 22 in that final. That was probably the first year of the rebuild, and now we're going into the next season. So I would say it's been 4 years, maybe 5, but regardless. J Evans 1693 said year 4 now. Gave January 22nd as 2022, January of 2022 as the date that it essentially started. So Vinny and JJ went at it about how long the rebuild had been going on. I thank them for the conversation. That's fantastic, guys. And thank you, everybody, for watching the video. We had 361 views or something like that on the last video. Thank you very much. We appreciate our fans so much. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate the discussions. I get in on them as much as I can. When I see them, I try to give you guys the thumbs up and get in on it if there's anything to discuss. So I love it. I love it. And these kind of conversations are great. They bring back memories of anything that's going on with the Habs. And it's like trivia, we like to have our trivia and bring back those old memories. John and I, that's the difference this show has with a lot of other shows is that, hey, we remember it. We remember the good old days when we were winning Stanley Cups every year and we had a fantastic team every year. And the greats were skating around like Beliveau and Cornwallier and Lemaire and Robinson and Maurice Richard. I even remember him. So, yeah, thank you so much for your comments. We really, really love them. Keep commenting, keep liking, keep watching the video, keep subscribing to the video. We love all you guys and girls. Yeah, there's a lot of women who watch the Habs too. Believe me, smart women. Okay, the games. Well, we did what we had to do. We already talked about that. We took the Canes out, snagged the last wild card spot with a great 4-2 win. We needed the win and pulled this one off. Gooley had a pair, number 5 and 6 of the year. With Suzuki adding number 30. Congratulations there, Mr. Suzuki. 30 goals. Nothing to sneeze at. That's a new high for you, for sure. And Nevins had 13, which may be a new high for him, too. He got the empty netter to put the game away. And I know the Canes lineup was missing 7 regulars or something like that and using a backup goaltender. But you know what? This team was still under the gun to win this game. It was a must win. And sometimes, like when we played Chicago, these must win games that we should win, we're the better team. They tend to be the hardest games you have to play because everybody's holding on to their stick a little tighter. They know what's at stake when that final buzzer goes. They know what's at stake, and for them to come out like they did and really, really take over the game and play a good game, that was nice to see. The Habs took care of business, and like I said, it's a good thing they did because the Blue Jackets took care of business the next night, beating the Islanders 6-1. So that game would have loomed large if we didn't win this one, and then we would have been out. So Habs took it under their own hands. They went out there and they did what they had to do, and their inconsistency is what got them there, and their inconsistency losing 3 in a row before they beat the Canes to get in was what they got them there. 3 losses, and then they come back big and win. And after that, after the game, the playoff game 1, I expect the same thing, believe it or not. I expect the Habs to win tonight. I think they're going to come out storming. It took a while for them to get their game together. We lost 3-2 in overtime, and questionable haul down of Laine and just a lot of things in that game. Well, let's put it this way: the refereeing was pretty bad, and I'm not saying it's bad just against Montreal. It's bad both ways. The refereeing in general in the NHL is pretty bad. It's WWE crap. They make calls that are just mind-boggling. You just don't understand it. Gallagher gets cross-checked in the face, no call. It's part of the game. It's part of the game, yeah, but not cross-check in the face. And the league looked at it and said, no, there's no penalty. So I guess cross-checking people in the face is okay. That's just one example. I mean, the league should have looked at that and said, no, we don't want that happening. I understand in the playoffs, the game's a little different. It's a little bit tougher, a little bit rougher, a little bit closer. And the referees put away the whistle for a lot of it and let stuff go. But there are plays that if they don't call, it embarrasses them. And that's usually what they tell the players. Listen, do what you want out there, but don't embarrass us. Don't make us make a call because you've done it right in front of us and embarrassed us into making the call, right? We know it's going to be closer. We know you're all battling for it, and we don't want to be the reason a team wins or loses. They really don't, the referees. Although the other night it was probably one of the biggest things. I mean, Laine gets tripped up. Demidov gets a knee on knee or whatever the hell that was. No calls, and they go down with OV getting that final goal. But several things in that game we saw give us hope for tonight. We started off really bad. It was a really tough game. The Washington Capitals are a big team, and they kind of ragdolled us. Tom Wilson was getting away with stuff. He's a big guy, and we don't have the sheriff out there patrolling. So we're left with Gooley, Struble, and Anderson, and Slavkovsky, and Gallagher. Really, they're the guys who are going to pick it up. But we don't really want them to be doing that. We want them to play hockey. That's why you need a sheriff out there. You need the sheriff out there to patrol the D zone, and just when one of these guys goes after our guy like Laine Hudson, they went after Hudson. Then Jack guy can skate up and say to the guy, you know what? You want to do that? Next time you're going to have to deal with me. We're going to drop the gloves. And if that's what you want, then bring it on. But don't go after our guys like that. And Caulfield and these guys. So that's what he brings to the table. So I think for the first little bit, the first or second period, even maybe, I think that the team was a little bit confused as to what do we do here? What do we do? These guys are getting away with boarding and charging and everything else. That hit behind the net there, the guy jumped off his feet. What are we gonna do with these bigger guys? They're getting away with it. And they had to figure out the game, but by the third period, they figured it out, and it was all Montreal the third period. They played a tremendous third period, for sure. So Monty held the fort while the team figured out exactly what to do with this gang of thieves. And they figured it all out, came back, tied the game. And of course, who's going to get the goals? Our Capitan, Suzuki, gets that goal 2-1. And who else would you pick to do it? I mean, this guy is so amazing. He's amazing. And then to follow that up, goal Caulfield. He gives us the second goal, and away we go into overtime. That's beautiful. That's our first line coming through. But here's the problem. Where's our second line? Our second line should be up there getting goals too. And what are they doing? Nothing. Laine is a stiff. If it was me coaching this team, Laine would be sitting this game. No doubt about it. There's no friggin' way I'm going to tolerate a guy out there going for a skate. What good is he? Somebody said, oh, he had 3 shots on net or 5 shots. I don't care how many shots he had. How many goals did he get? I don't care if he's got 1 shot and it goes in the net. I don't care how many shots. The guy's a lazy, he's just useless. He just takes up room. And here's the really bad part of Laine. It's not just about him. It's about Demidov. We have a phenom on our hands here. And the guy's playing with a couple of stiffs. Think about it. Newhook. What's he do? He skates around 100 miles an hour. He never gets a goal. How is that our second line? These guys couldn't make the second, third line in most leagues. Fourth line, maybe. But they're our second line guys. Come on, we got better than them. Anderson gives it his all every game. Heineman gives it his all every game. Gallagher gives it his all every game. Armia's out there plugging away. Dvorak's plugging away. I mean, I would rather see these guys up on that second line. We need people who can put the puck in the net. We know Dvorak can, we know Armia can, and we know Gallagher can. And Anderson, well, he got 15 goals this year. He's better than most times. But at least the guy's out there giving it his all every minute he's on the ice. And Laine's just cruising around. I don't think he could care less, to be honest with you. I really don't. I think he'd rather be golfing now. He comes to the arena with those suits. He's a fashion plate. And I think they'd look great up in the press box. Yeah, he'd be the press box idol. But as far as doing anything on the ice, forget about the power play with him anymore. Forget about it. Everybody knows what the Habs are going to do. They're telegraphing the move. I would take him off that power play and put Demidov on it. First line power play without a doubt. We need guys who can put the puck in the net, and he's got one move, a slap shot from over there. And if the goalie knows that he's going to be there and stop him. I just don't see this. I just don't see him being there. I mean, we're getting ragdolled. He's 6'4" in that. Where's he? What's he doing? Nothing. Nothing. He's the guy. Yeah, forget about it. He's got to go. We have Monty playing the game of his life, holding the fort, letting the Habs get back into it. I mean, Laine, usual Laine play, hauled down at center ice. No penalty called. Ovi's in front of the net. It seals the overtime win for the Caps. He's got to go. Sit him out. Give him a game to think about it. Get his mental health back or whatever the hell's wrong with the guy. Everybody's going, oh, you shouldn't say that. You know, I know what it's like to have this and recover from a knee and get the hell out of here. This is $8.5 million and a professional hockey player. This isn't you sitting at home watching the game on TV with a bum knee or some beer league injury. No, this is $8.5 million a year for this guy to score goals and help us to win games. I'm not putting up with it. Not like, what am I going to do? I'm not coach. If I was coach, I'm not putting up with it. I would sit him. I would sit him and move Demidov up to that second, or he is on the second line. Move Anderson up, or somebody who wants to play, who can pass the puck. Because Demidov, he's ready to explode. He's got to have players that can play with him. He's the guy. He's the guy. Caulfield, Suzuki, and him. Slav, what's he done? Nothing. He's a good setup guy. Maybe he should go down the second line. Bring somebody else up to the first, but whatever they got going now, we got one line. That's it. And we're not going to win. We're not going far with one line. We need more than one line. And that second line was supposed to be it with Laine. It's not. So MSL has to make a decision here. And of course, everything gets tighter. Our guys are getting ragdolled. The game's tightened up. The referees put the whistles away. So we're going to have a harder and harder time. I mean, we came back, and what really bothers me about the game is it was winnable. We could have won that game, and we didn't. And, even if I think we can make some changes tonight. But MSL's a hardhead. He's a Cabadosta. He's going to go with the same lineup, and, we'll see what happens. If they win, I'll be happy and call him a genius. But if they lose, I'll be sad that he didn't bring up some grit and he didn't get rid of Laine, who's not contributing to the team. And, Habs led it in all categories except hits. And somebody said, well, they only had 10 hits less or 7 hits less. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. They had 7 hits less. But I'm going to tell you, these guys are hammering Caulfield, Gallagher, Suzuki, Hudson, and everybody else. And eventually, they're going to get injured. You cannot take a pounding like that and not get injured. You're going to get injured. And when they do, then everybody's going to be up in arms saying, we should have played Wi-Fi. Yes, we should play him right now. And he should have talks with a couple of these people. You don't have to play him every game. Just get him in there to send a message. We're not putting up with this crap. So what I'd like to see when we talk about tweaking the lineup, just because, you had a good game. Don't get me wrong. We had a good game. Monty held the fort. Our two best guys, Suzuki and Caulfield, came through for us. Never got any secondary scoring. Our first line, that's it. And then we got Demidov sitting there waiting to pull the trigger. But he's not going to do playing on that second line with 2 stiffs. Not going to happen. It's not going to happen. He needs somebody better to play with. And I don't even care if you take the Savkoski off the first line and put Demidov up there. You give him somebody to play with. This kid's gonna tear it up. But playing with what he's got, seriously. So what I think we need, what I'd like to see him do, is insert Wi-Fi into the lineup for more grit. We definitely need that. We need somebody to stick up for these players. And I know from seeing this team play that when Wi-Fi is on the ice, when Jack Eye's on the ice, the team plays bigger. They have more confidence because they know if any of these Washington Capital players, Tom Wilson or anybody else, takes liberties, Wi-Fi is going to have a talk with him, and he's going to be in the middle of everything. Now MSL says he's a liability. Yeah, but he's a peacenik. MSL is a peacenik. You don't like rough stuff. You don't like fighting. He's from the old '60s, the peaceniks, the hippies. Make love, not war. Well, you know what? You're in a war, and if you can't be a war coach, then you got to figure it out because we need a war coach. We're in a war. This is war. So with him watching the D zone Wi-Fi, guys like Hudson aren't going to have to worry. They take liberties, and he's going to be right there. I put him with Hudson, as a matter of fact. He's not going to have to take the beating he took the first game. We look bigger with him on the ice. The Habs looked really small on Monday, and if anybody watched the game, Habs fan or not, you'll say that a couple of people have said they look small out there. Well, yeah, because they are. We're not the biggest team in the league. We're not the toughest team in the league. So we need toughness. We need more toughness. Guys like Pizzetta and Wi-Fi who aren't afraid to go out there and do battle. Anderson, another one that's not afraid to do battle. Gallagher, he's a warrior, but I mean, seriously, he's older and he's just not that big neither. He does his best. He's trying. He's a warrior. But Wi-Fi out there, Tom Wilson will get the message real quick when he sees 72 step onto the ice. The peacenik don't want to play him, then we get what we get. Number 2, like I said, Laine, he's got to sit up. That's right. The guy's a loafer and non-entity on the ice. Seriously, you wouldn't even know he's playing out there. Sure, you can score power play goals. Big deal. But where's his 5-on-5 play? The game's not just about power plays. In the playoffs, you get less power plays because they don't call as many penalties. So if his effectiveness is on the power play, he's not going to get that many chances. We need him to play 5-on-5 like everybody else. I mean, our second line has the scoring phenom, Demonov. He's waiting, but he's going to do it with a slacker like Laine and Newhook. He needs better. Habs need better. We're not going far with one line, I'll tell you that right now. And if I see the team skate on the ice tonight and Wi-Fi is not there and Line A is, I'm going to be going, here we go. Here we go again. How much are we going to be down in the first period this time? Hope it changes. I hope it isn't like that, but I can't guarantee you that it won't be. And I just don't see MSL as being a wartime coach. And somebody says, what do you mean wartime coach? Wartime coach. This is war. The playoffs are war. I mean, I hope MSL can take some positives from the first game because there were a lot of positives as well as negatives, and get the Habs rolling from the opening faceoff. That's what I want to see. We don't want to wait 2 periods to get going. If it wasn't for Monty, it could have been a 4 or 5-0 game, really easy. So we want them to get going right away. Now that they've had their eyes open, the first game they were standing there kind of in awe for the first 2 periods. I mean, first time a lot of them have been there. So, yeah, I can understand that. But I don't want to see it taking two periods to get them going. He's got to get them out of the gate. Galley had a day off, I think, of a practice because he's hurt from that cross check. I mean, but that's what I'd like to see. I want them to get out there, and I'm hoping Sammy can have another great game because we're going to need that. And I'm not taking anything away from the Caps. They're a damn good team. That's why they came first in the conference. They're a good team. And so that means that we have to match them. And if Wi-Fi's on the ice, they won't take as many liberties, which is better for us. We can get going. And of course, the referees have been changed due to incompetence from the first game. Everybody was yelling about the referees, so they got changed. They usually do 2 or 3 games and then they change, but in this case, they're changing them right away. They were just that bad. And the same went for the Toronto crew. The ones that did the first game for Toronto have been changed because they were so bad. So it's not our imagination. That was a poor performance from from the uh, from the referees. So what am I expecting tonight? Well, what I'd like to see, what I'm expecting MSL to ice the same bunch that played 2 days ago. A little bit more worn for wear because of all the hitting and that. And I'm expecting them to come out now that they've got that one under their belt and they see how it's done. I'm expecting them to have a better game. I'm expecting them to make it a game in the first period and second period, not depend on Sammy to save the day, only to lose in overtime. So I'm expecting better, and I'm expecting I don't know, better refereeing maybe. Get a couple more power plays. Out of this, maybe Laine can do something. But without them, he's not going to do anything 5-on-5. I mean, if it's 20 goals, would he get 18 or 15 or 16 on power play or something? I mean, he's a power play phenom, but in the playoffs, that really doesn't come into play. I mean, he doesn't anyway. They just know what he's doing. They telegraph it, and you're not gonna see him fooling these guys. Let me put it that way. They're gonna be on him like white on rice. That's it. So what do I expect? Let's see if they can get going the first period and get the first goal. They get the first goal, that presents a different game, and hopefully, well, we're not going to have any more toughness than we had last game. Hopefully, nobody gets hurt. Hopefully, Sammy can play a good game, and hopefully, we can get some secondary scoring, supplementary scoring from one of the other lines. It's not always going to be Suzuki and Caulfield who are going to win games. That's just the bomb. That's just the way it is. We need more. We need more. So, okay, le toit de la semaine dernière. I'm going to end the show early today. 45-minute wrap of what's going on. I'm excited. I want to get home. I want to get ready for the game tonight. So, le toit. So, my first star this week was Sammy. I mean, that game would have been over without Sammy. He played a tremendous game, a 906 compared to the other goalies, 943, I think. But that's still good. The quality of shots on him and the saves he made kept us in the game, and that was important because we couldn't go down to these guys 4-0. And Sammy kept it 1-0, and then they got the second one. And then we got going in the third and took over the game. So we need to take over the game in the first. No fooling around. We got to come out with like gangbusters. But Sammy, he did everything he could to keep the game from getting out of hand. And he gave us a chance to win. What are you going to do? We didn't win, but he gave us that chance. You cannot ask more from a goalie. I thought he was the first star. And he won the game in Carolina too. So good for him. Second star, Suzuki, the captain. He showed the way. When the chips were down, who do we look to? We look to our best players. And who's the best player? When the chips are down, it always seems to be Suzuki. He leads the way. He's the guy who gets the goal that we need to keep us in the game. And then my third star is Caulfield. Usually when Suzuki gets going like that, Caulfield follows up with a goal. Those two players are so good. And Slavkovsky is there digging, playing a little rough and digging pucks out of the corners. He doesn't have a lot of goals. He has the ability, but he's mostly a playmaker now, it seems. And who assisted on those goals? Laine Hudson. I mean, honorable mention. I mean, he took a beating and he kept on ticking, and then took a licking and kept on ticking. And had 2 assists in the game, which is what we expect from Caulfield. He's going to find it a little bit tougher in the playoffs because people aren't just going to let him wander around. They're going to be on him. They're going to be hitting him. A lot of hits from behind, a lot of interference in the game. that wasn't called on both ways. Maybe I mean, we saw Anderson hammer Tom Wilson to the ground, and no penalty called. So it goes both ways. I know the Habs fans tend to look at it one way, and so do I. To be honest with you, I'm a Habs fan. I don't care about this other team. But that one there could have been called very easily an interference penalty, but it wasn't, and that's the way it goes in the playoffs, right? So Caulfield's the third one. Hudson honorable mention. An interesting comment by Caulfield when a reporter asked him how it felt getting hit by OV. He just said, "I wouldn't recommend it." And I don't blame him for saying that. OV is a beast. He's a beast. He's 6 foot whatever, and 245 pounds or something. The guy is a beast. He's not like a 180 pound 5'11" Gretzky. This guy's a beast. He'll take you on. He'll hit with a tight. He hits like a train. It's like a big tandem truck. So he said, "I wouldn't recommend it." And I wouldn't recommend anybody getting hit by him or some of these other big guys. So we've got to stay out of that. Hudson, so hopefully somebody can protect you. We'll see if Wi-Fi plays. I heard he was gonna. Now I heard he isn't. But they're my 3 stars. Hudson honorable mention. I think we're going to see a great game tonight, and hopefully Montreal can come back and win it. We definitely want to win one in Washington and go home tied and see how we make out at the Bell Center. It'll be a little bit different. Remember, at home, our coach gets the last change so he can get better matchups. And we got the crowd who's going to be going crazy when they step on the ice on Friday. Friday's the next game. So I can't wait to see that. Tonight, if we can pull one out tonight, we need to pull one out tonight. We don't want to go home 2-0, down 2-0, and then risk a split or something, having to win both games. We want to go home 1-1, and then the pressure's on Washington to win in Montreal. We go down 2-0. There's no pressure on Washington. All they got to do is take one, and they come back home, and it's 4-1 game series over in 5 maybe. If we win tonight, it changes everything because Washington cannot lose 2 in Montreal. They can. They lose 2 in Montreal. We go to Washington up 3-1. Advantage Montreal. So we definitely want to win this one tonight. That's what we want to do. This is a big one, as big as any game we've played all year. And I just hope we don't give it away. Got to play tight. Got to play smart. And I wish Wi-Fi was there to protect our guys. I really don't want the guys we need scoring Anderson and them guys to protect them. So anyway, everybody, that's it for me today. I'm done. John couldn't be here, of course. Too bad. He would have added to this chat, I'm sure. But I thank everybody for tuning in. I'm glad everybody comments and watches the video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Just hit the subscribe button. You'll get a notification when I drop another video. Usually comes on around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the video. If you're listening live on 4680Q and you want to watch the antics in the studio, well, you can watch it again on video. Anyway, my name is Paul K. Lemire. Don't forget to tune in next week at noon for Habsolutely. God bless you all. Go Habs, go. Come on, everybody. Get your mind going. Good mental thoughts. Habs are going to win. We got to have that mental wave going towards them. Habs are going to win. We got to keep saying that, and we're going to watch for the first puck drop, and then we're going to cheer them on from there. Take care. Have a great day. I'm broadcasting live from the studios of 4680Q in downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. We'll talk to you later. Go Habs, go.